look out. Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sports writer Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Oh, somebody, at least somebody, probably a whole lot of somebodies are going to go under the bus. We welcome you in to our latest edition of Under the Bus. I am Bob Stevens, along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. You see our names there. An Olympic under the bus, I'm sure, is coming up for somebody. I got a nominee coming up in a little bit. But let's just talk about some of the greatness going on before we throw up people under the bus. It seems like I have a recency bias. It's who won last night. It seems to be, that's the name I'm thinking of. But we've had Katie Ledecky, and we've had so many other people, Simone Biles, who actually last night only won silver, but may have created the picture of these games when she and the American girl who won bronze bowed to the girl who won the gold, Rebecca Andrade from Brazil. Terrific stuff. That really shows off to me how cool the Olympics is. Thoughts, guys? What you've seen so far?
Well, there's so many stories, good and bad. But it's been fun to watch. Especially the Americans are dominating, don't you think? Of all they have the most medals, outdistanced China by about 20 medals, I think.
They do that. They do that every year. I think we win the medal count every year, but in China's close. I think China was close in Tokyo. But I can't get enough of the Olympics, especially where we are. Where we are, this hurricane is coming, and you sit inside and you watch Olympics all day. And I get confused. I get confused with what teams and what countries and the whole deal. I want to go back. It seems like a year ago, but the opening ceremonies were spectacular. Yeah. I just, I love the teams on the boats coming down the Seine, and it was so French, and they did so many, productions on the sidelines. If there was any I think the first competition of the games were in Olympic singing. And it was on the there was Lady Gaga on the banks of the Seine with with all her dancers in red, and one of the dancers almost fell off the stairs into the river, but she got smoked. I mean, she got smoked in the competition by Celine Dion. At the top of the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. Yeah, at the top of the Eiffel Tower, singing in the rain, in the pouring rain, and there's the Eiffel Tower, and there's Celine Dion coming back from all her illnesses. It was just spectacular.
Really good stuff, Rich.
Well, the thing that always pops up to me, and all the success the Americans have, I always get a kick out of all the side stories going on. I'm sure we're going to talk about the French pole vaulter in a little bit, but then there's also the Brazilian swimmer who was kicked out of the village because she left with her boyfriend. So you spend all that time training for the Olympics, 4 years getting ready, and then you can't even compete because you got to go out with your boyfriend outside the village. And they sent her home. Home, which is kind of crazy.
Curry, you've covered a bunch of Olympics. You've probably run into instances like that.
Well, it seems like there's stuff like that every year. There were two. The thing that some of the stuff bothers me, and I want to put them under the bus. Even as recently as last night, you mentioned the women's gymnastics. Yeah. I am really bothered when they, in the last event, when they turned over the points, they awarded. The Romanian girl was in line to get the bronze, and they turned over, the Jordan Childs points. They turned it over after she had appeared. She didn't win a medal, and all of a sudden, the officials come back and change the points, and she gets the medal, and everybody goes crazy. And it turned out the reporting said that the American coach protested Child's score and put in a protest to show the officials where they made a mistake. And I had never heard of that. I mean, why don't other coaches just protest every event? It was just weird, and I didn't like it.
No, I didn't either. That girl was so excited that she won the bronze.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, she was devastated when they took it away from her. How do you all of a sudden change your opinion of the point system? all of a sudden, it's not like a replay in football where the guy was out of bounds or something like that. But, also happened to the girl from the U.S., Walsh, who came in third, and they took it away from her because supposedly when she made her turn, she was doing backstroke. She went into a breaststroke, and she came in third place, thought she won the medal, and then they took that away from her too.
Well, they showed the replay of that. She did make an error, but they were the gymnastics is so it's people doing
Objective.
porn. It just bothered me that they changed stuff like that. They did a similar thing in soccer early in the tournament when you must have seen this when Morocco played Argentina and they went to late in the game they went to Morocco was up 2-1 and they went to what do they call it, extra time, and they did 15 minutes of extra time, which is unheard of. It's so
Yes.
and finally in the last minute Argentina scores to tie the game 2-2. Well, the
Okay.
Moroccan fans went nuts. They stormed the pitch, as they call it, the pitch, and they had flares and they were fighting. They're going to fight people. So they cleared the field before, with 3 minutes left in the game. Cleared the field, a tie game, 2-2. The teams go away, and 2 hours later,
Oh, wow.
officials are looking at it, and they overturned Argentina's goal. They said the guy was offside. This is 2 hours after the teams left the pitch. They came back to an empty stadium, played 3 minutes. Morocco held on to win 2-1 after Argentina had thought they tied the game. It was ridiculous. And the Argentina coach, this is under the Olympic teams are in soccer are under 19, so it's not their national team because
Okay.
But the Argentina coach said that this was not only a scandal, it was a circus. So I think he put scandal, which he seemed to understand. The scandal is always coming, but then when it becomes a circus, it's really bad. And so this is ridiculous. But Morocco went on to reach the semis. They got beat by Spain yesterday,
Wow.
so they went a long way with this
Wow.
victory, which was turned over. It should have been a victory for Morocco.
I've
Should
never
have been a
heard of
tie.
that 2 hours later. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine changing a football game or a basketball, baseball 2 hours later? Hey, by the way, guys, you didn't win. Well,
They just asked Scotty Scheffler to get back the gold. One of those birdies in his run on Sunday
Well,
really wasn't a birdie.
That's what it's like. I was bothered also by the great story of the pole vaulter last night. Not the pole vaulter you're talking about, Rich. We can suspend that.
The Swedish pole vaulter from LSU. Yeah.
Yeah, the Mondo Duplantis, who's an American guy. He grew up in Louisiana. His parents met as athletes at LSU. His father was a pole vaulter, taught the kid to pole vault. They changed their whole backyard in Baton Rouge into a pole vault lane for the kid. And he's and he gets better and better. And then because his mom is from Sweden, he declared that he wanted to become do the Olympics for Sweden. What is that all about? I mean, his dad was the one. His dad's American. His dad taught him the pole vault, and of course he's spectacular. I don't know if you saw it last night.
I did.
But he set the world record. He
Right.
won it in Tokyo, and I don't remember that much. But he's a repeat world record holder, and the whole crowd was berserk about pole vaulting, which was wonderful. I mean, it was great to see this kid. But then it turns out he's competing for Sweden, so we don't even get the gold medal.
Does he even speak any Swedish?
I don't know. He did interviews. He's an American kid. He sounds like
his English was pretty darn good. I know that.
Yeah.
How about
Also,
what he competed in Tokyo? Did he do for Sweden then also?
yeah, he's been a Swedish pole vaulter, and I remember he won. I remember kind of hearing this story then, but I wasn't as upset then as last night. But it was interesting to me. After he won, he roared over and he embraced his girlfriend. Then he roared over, ran to his parents, and he embraced his father first, not his mother, his father first. I mean, but he's playing for Sweden because that's his mother's home country.
Thank God for Bruce Jenner. Thank God for Bruce Jenner, who has at least been consistent about everything all the way through.
Right. So, talking about
Hey,
a
also
switcheroo.
last night, did Noah Lyles win the 100 meters,
About 30
or
times.
or did he not, or did he finish ninth? I mean,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
that close. What a
That
race!
was what an amazing race that was. What a character he is. He's terrific though for the sport. And but things. Who are you sick of? I'll tell you who I'm sick of.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg.
Oh,
Snoop Dogg. Come on. I mean, it's very cool that NBC, hired him to come and be at the broadcast and, put him out for a few different things. But you talk about overexposure. He's in everything. You can't get away from him. I mean, he even, he rode on the bus with the basketball team. He's with Simone Biles' parents. He was with Kayla Dressel, the swimmer's baby, when Dressel won. I mean, he's in, then he's with Martha Stewart going to equestrian but the last straw the other day, they sent him to the Louvre. And apparently they cleared out the Louvre so he could look at the Mona Lisa. Did you see this? He
no,
was
I-
staring. I mean, Snoop Dogg staring down the Mona Lisa. I mean, come on. I get give me a break.
What are you going to think? What are you going to think, Curry, when they give him the flag and let him carry the flag at the
Yeah,
closing
please,
ceremony?
please no.
Yeah, really.
Well, let me ask you about Steve Kerr with not playing Tatum in one of the games.
Oh
Now,
yeah, big controversy.
how could he not play 1 minute? I mean, that's crazy. Then he apologized and said that he was an idiot for not playing him.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you
Well,
play him? He's one of our best players.
well, and then the next game, of course, he sat out Embiid for the entire game. But he has, his other great line, Rich, was, in a 40-minute, he said in a 40-minute game, you can only play 10
Yeah, where
guys.
was that a
What are you
rule?
talking about? What are
I
you
know
talking
exactly. You got all these great players. You can't play those two guys. Is he crazy?
I know
Yeah,
you
I
were
heard
going
the same
crazy about that.
comment. We only can play 10 guys. It makes no
I
sense.
I knew you were going nuts
Oh,
on that one,
I didn't
but
like that at all.
the thing is, the American team win. Every game's a blowout. You got nothing to talk about. There's nothing to criticize except who doesn't play. His
Right.
lineups. But
That's right.
I give him credit for though because he's running this team the way. Apparently they don't get upset. I mean, Tatum really, I don't know if he was upset. I mean, they've bought into this. Embiid can't really get upset because he's French anyway. He
Right.
gets out there and the French just boo him every time he shows up because he chose to play for America instead of the French. So I don't know. And what about Rich, Bob? Three
Yes.
on three. Here we have 3-on-3
Yeah.
guys. What about 3-on-3 in the Olympics? Come on.
How
Who
come?
cares?
Why are we not better at this? Jimmer Fredette is like our star player, and we got blown out quick in that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, but
We
no,
sure
no,
did.
we lost the first 3 games, and he got hurt. He got hurt though, and stepping to the fore was Kenyon Barry, Rick Barry's son, who Rich and I know. Remember him? He went to college at Charleston. He played 3 years at college at Charleston
Yeah.
until Rick bought a place there and came down and to watch his kid play for 3 years. And then Rick's such a helicopter parent, he got the coach fired, and then he left. And then Rick took Canyon to Florida. He finished his career at Florida, where he played really well. He was
Yeah.
like 6th man of the year in the SEC. He also, he does the underhand free throws the way Rick did.
Yeah.
And Canyon Barry made 42 consecutive free throws at Florida, broke the school record. I remember that.
Wow.
But he turned out he won one of these 3-on-3 games. He did a last second basket to win a game. But then we got beat. We got beat by the Dutch, who ended up winning the thing. But still, does anybody care about that? I mean, why did they add this game? They
I
got
have
another.
no idea. I have no idea. But how do we lose to the Dutch? I mean, really, we're supposed to have the best basketball players in the world. We can't find 3 guys that can.
Well,
that can do it all?
but the qualifications, Rich and Bob, are so stupid. You got to qualify for these FIBA 3-on-3 tournaments the season or all season, and
Oh.
nobody plays in those FIBA Nobody plays in a FIBA 3-on-3, and then you've got
Why don't
another.
we have?
There's been.
Then I have the solution then for the 3-on-3 thing for the next Olympics, 2028 in LA. And I was going to throw USA basketball under the bus because I know this is what they're going to do for the 5-on-5, but maybe they could just do it on 3-on-3, and it'll be less of a dust up. LeBron and Bronny, and let them pick a third. Is there a daughter? And the Jameses, call them the James gang, and let them go.
Well, here's what I would like to see: have them play have play 2 women and a guy, have the 3-on-3 teams, and you have to play, you have to play there. People would watch that, I think.
Well, and then you could do another medal for mixed 3-on-3, kind of like they did in swimming and have done a little bit in track and field.
Yeah, I like that. I like the track and field men and women have been, the races have been really cool. Really
they
neat.
Have been, yeah. And the swimming I thought was great when you had to decide which men to put in which spots and which women to put in which strokes. The mixed medley I thought was, it sounded to me like a Chicago tune, but
in that race, the audience, us, was never told how. There was a guy swimming against a girl, and then a girl against a girl. It was weird. I think they should have a guy swim against a guy, and then a girl against a girl in that race. Because when they're swimming,
I don't know. I like keeping it mixed up. Let the teams decide which strokes they want to do when,
but that's all strategy before the race. Then they have to figure out who are we going to race against, this guy and this girl.
See, then we got a coaching job for Rich for the next Olympics.
Yeah, there you go.
Snoop Dogg could have came in. Snoop Dogg could have came in and explained all those rules, Curry. If they would use them right. Have Snoop Dogg.
Speaking of LeBron, he turns out to be the geek dad of the tournament of the whole Olympics. Because I don't know if you saw this, he and his family went to beach volleyball, and they showed LeBron in the stand. The beach volleyball, the DJs play all this hip hop music and all this spinning music, and LeBron's up there in the stands trying to dance. And he's dancing, he's jigging it around, and he looks like an uncoordinated white guy when he's dancing. And they shot him dancing, and then they moved the camera over and shot his daughter, his 10-year-old daughter Zuri, who doesn't show up much in public. But she's over there, and when LeBron's dancing, they showed her, and she's going, no. It's like you're embarrassing me, Dad. This is a humiliation. I mean, she was like saying, first Bronny and now this.
Yeah.
You're embarrassed. This poor 10-year-old girl. She's like so embarrassed that her dad is up there looking like a total geek. It's great.
All right. Anybody else has any Olympic thoughts? We'll get to them in a few minutes. We need to take a quick break. We are sponsored by Hudson's on the Docks. That's hudsonsonthedocks.com. Great Hilton Head restaurant that has survived the storm, is doing just fine. And if you're headed to the island the rest of August, the island is going to be just fine. And go to Hudson's on the Docks, and we thank them for sponsoring us. We'll be back. We're going to talk a little baseball. And obviously some more Olympics when we come back and throw people under the bus. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Rich Basirico and Curry Kirkpatrick. If we turn to baseball for just a few minutes, it's easy to throw the Chicago White Sox under the bus. They've pretty much taken residence under the bus. They traded all the players they did have. Most recently, a 21-game losing streak. They're probably going to be worse than the 62 Mets, and all of us even remember who the 62 Mets were. That was pretty awful. I'm going to throw somebody else on. I'm going to throw the rest of the teams under the bus who were all interested in trading for the Giants' Blake Snell and didn't get it done because the Giants ended up keeping Snell, and his first time out goes and throws a no-hitter. He actually pitches into the 9th inning, which, although he's won 2 Cy Youngs, he had never pitched in the 9th inning. Pitches in the 9th inning, no hits the Reds, and everybody else is wondering why they didn't trade for him when they had the chance.
Well, the only thing I could think of is the asking price must have been too high. When you think
Was high enough the Giants didn't take it, that's for sure, yeah.
Well, and the Yankees had a chance to get him, and other teams obviously during the offseason, but they held out for more money, and no one. And you remember now, he didn't get to start until like a month after the season started, and started off very slow. But he's really coming on now. I wish the Yankees would have picked him up, but who knows what they're asking for it.
The Yankees already have too many great pitchers.
Really? You think so? I don't know about that.
I got a under the bus.
Yeah.
The guy, and that's the Blue Jays manager, John Schneider, who the other day, you talk about the Yankees. The other day, he intentionally walked Aaron Judge in the second inning, with nobody on base. Nobody on base. Two people out. He intentionally walked Judge, but the point being, Judge had hit a home run in the first the night before. And in this game, he just hit another home run in the first inning of this game. So, and Schneider walked him, intentional walk, and he said he wasn't. I just didn't feel like seeing him swing the bat again. He's in a different category, which he is this year. Rich, you got to admit, this guy. Yeah. It's unbelievable what he's done. And people have looked it up. He's hit 15 home runs in the first inning. 15.
Wow.
But that's three away from the record. I think 2 away, actually. 18 by A-Rod. A-Rod for Texas, before he got to the Yankees, hit 18 in the first inning 1 year. I think it was 2001, they say. But it's an interesting statistic. Home runs in the first inning. I looked it up. Who's the has the lead in history, has the most home runs in the first inning?
Babe Ruth.
Albert Pujols.
Ricky Henderson. All right.
159 home runs in the first inning. That's amazing stat.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy stat.
And nobody walked him in the first inning.
Yeah.
Well, and they walked him, Curry. Did they not walk him 3 times in that game?
Yeah, I think so. Well, they struck him out. They struck him out though in the middle of the game. But
why would you walk him the next time after striking him out?
I think Schneider was just tired of it. He hit a home run in the first inning just 10 minutes earlier, and he hit one the night before. He was just
want to see him run around the bases again, I guess.
Well, isn't that funny though how things have changed? Because back in the day, wouldn't you have put one in his ear instead of walking him?
Yeah.
If he'd have hit a home run off you the night before and then in the first inning, give him a little chin music. And
you're right, Bob.
Nobody does that anymore.
Right. They don't do it. Maybe because it's Judge.
And the funny thing is, I think Judge has such respect around the league and in all Major League Baseball. But Judge was funny. He said he didn't expect it because the pitcher Juan Berrios, he said he hadn't had much success against him all season, and he said even in his past years, he hasn't had a lot of success against Berrios, except he did hit the home run in the first inning.
Yeah. To say, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah. I think he's gonna break that record of 18. I mean, he only needs 3 more. Well, he's at 15, so yeah,
he should break
almost 2 months. Yeah,
2 months. Yeah. Well, where does the analytics come in? All these teams use analytics, and now if he's pitched that well against Judge, what is it? So they only use analytics when they want to. When it works for them. Otherwise, they throw it out the window.
Well, and you can get the analytics to tell you anything you want, pretty much.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
I don't hear much about analytics in the Olympics, which, thank goodness. Really, when you think about it, all these televised events, you never really hear that.
Never.
If we want to get back to the Olympics for a second, I'd like to at least, these non-traditional Olympic sports that we love. Let's mention golf and tennis on Sunday.
Yes.
It was spectacular. I didn't know what was more amazing. Scotty Scheffler, 62, 29 on the back nine, or Scotty Scheffler totally breaking down and crying during the national anthem. I mean, you think these events don't mean something to these people? It's, they're playing for no money, and, they're $1 million athletes. They're playing for no money. And Scheffler, you never see Scheffler do any emotion. And I don't know if you saw this, but he totally broke down at the end of the national anthem. That's just special.
Yeah.
Same
and to
same
see
thing with Djokovic
the same thing in
winning in
Joe.
tennis. Yeah.
Yep. And winning an unbelievable, I mean, what's one of the great matches of the last decade? I saw the whole thing. I got up in the morning. I watched it on my phone, as a matter of fact, because I don't get Peacock. But Alcaraz could have won both sets. If it had gone, there were two tie breaks that the Joker won. And if it had gone to a third, I would have bet money Alcaraz would have beat him because Joker was exhausted.
Yeah.
I mean, to win that thing and then to go, weeping. And then Alcaraz also was weeping on the sidelines to have lost it. And they
Mhm.
talk about through their country and they're playing for their country and it means so much.
That was all good stuff. And indeed,
Yeah.
you know what they get, by the way, in the little tube that when they get the medal,
Yeah, I was wondering what was that? What is that?
there's a poster in there.
The poster, but what nobody knows what the poster is, right?
No, maybe it's of the pole vaulter. I don't know.
No, I think I think it's probably the poster that you can buy that everybody can buy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe it's more special than that,
How
but
many
it is
posters are you gonna
weird.
get, Simone? How many
Maybe
posters?
it's signed by Simone Biles or something.
It is
Yeah.
weird. They give them that little box with the poster in it. And nobody
Yeah.
they never open it, so
I-
you only read it.
Before we get
But
away
I
from
wanna-
tennis, Curry, I wanted to ask you real quick. They only play 3 sets in the Olympics. The men play 5 sets in all the other tournaments, especially the majors.
It's a Grand Slam. Yeah.
Should they go back to playing 3 at the majors, or is 5 better tennis? You're the tennis guy.
No, I like 5 at the majors, but I
Okay.
also the Olympics is so special. It's kind of interesting. I do wish though that if they split sets, now they don't play a third set. They play a tiebreak.
Oh.
Do you know that in the third set they don't play a third set?
Oh, they do, and you would rather see a third set? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think they have to play it out a third set because it's kind of you split sets now. You got to just play a tiebreak to win it. I would go to a third set, but that's the way they've done it since they put it in the last Olympics. But
Interesting stuff.
well,
Yes.
to stay there a minute, the thing that Djokovic had did, I had never thought of this, that winning every Grand Slam and winning the Olympics is such a special club. And I had never heard of this, and I've been covering tennis for so long. But when you think about it, and the only people that done that are Nadal, Agassi, Serena, and Steffi Graf, and the only people, and now Djokovic. They've won every Grand Slam tournament and the gold medal.
Yeah.
Of course, only Steffi. When you think about this, she did it all in the same year, which
Yeah,
is
that's
when you think about that, spectacular. Not 1988. Yeah.
Tell
Well,
us Steffi's story. We haven't heard a Steffi story from you, Curry.
Well, if you want to get into, I was going to get into my relationship with the Olympics, and it starts.
You know what?
With a
Let's
story.
save that. Let's take a quick break. Come back and we'll talk Curry's relations with the Olympic Games. This is the stuff you have waited all this time for. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're not throwing anybody under the bus except maybe Curry. Stay with us. All right, that was the best tease we've had in the number of months we've been doing this show. Folks, I bet we're just waiting to come back from that break as you join us Under the Bus, brought to you by hudsonsonthedocks.com if you want to find out what they're serving today or tomorrow or down the road. Bob Stevens along with Rich Basirico and Curry Kirkpatrick. Curry, you've covered Olympics, you've covered a lot of tennis. Bring it all together.
Well, yeah, I've covered a lot of the Olympics. My favorite was Barcelona in '92, and of course that was the Olympics of the Dream Team. I was not doing pro basketball then for the magazine. I was writing college basketball. So of course when the Dream Team came up, it was a pro sport, and I didn't do that sport. What the story I was assigned to do was a story about the boats in the harbor. It was the first year they had all these spectacular boats with celebrities, and I was going to go around and do a funny story in the boats. But it enabled me, my family was there, enabled me to go to all these different sports. And of course, so I went to the tennis a lot. And Steffi had won the, as I say, the gold medal in the Golden Slam in '88, and this was '92 now. And she desperately wanted to repeat as a tennis champion, but she wasn't even favored that year. The home girl, Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, I don't know if you remember,
Sure.
she's a little Spanish girl who was really a terrific player. And she was the favorite that year on the clay. And of course, I knew Steffi really well. And because I had done stories on her and profile and stuff, and had been to Germany and, done a lot of stuff on her. And early in the tournament, I told her that my daughter, Chelsea, who was 10 at the time, who was a tennis player, she would love to meet her. And I wondered if Steffi, at some point after a match would come out beyond the press gallery and meet Chelsea. And she said, "Oh, great. I'll do it. How about we do it after the tournament?" And I said, "Oh, terrific." But, I didn't know what that meant. So she plays and she beats Arantxa in the semifinals. So she makes the final. But in the final, she faces a 17-year-old girl named Jennifer Capriati.
Oh, yeah.
And she plays this terrific match and loses 6-4 in the third to Jennifer, who was this was Jennifer's, first coming out party. And so I went, after Steffi did the press, I went behind there and waited. And I said, and I brought Chelsea down. I said, there's no way. Steffi's just lost this tremendous match and was just crushed by it. But nevertheless, she came out and saw me and met Chelsea, and she couldn't have been nicer. I mean, it's unbelievable. It was like she won the match. I mean, she just sashayed over and she was smiling and happy, and it just shows what a terrific, girl she was, even in defeat. She would come and talk to us. So
That's
that
great
was
stuff.
my Steffi story at the Olympics. But in Barcelona, they had this terrific pedestrian walkway called the Ramblas, where everybody would show up all day and all
Great
night.
place.
And that's where the dream team would come during their days off. And of course, especially Charles Barkley, who was the hit of the games. And he would just ramble down the Ramblas and greeting fans and signing autographs and doing pictures. And it was just a great scene that year. That's one of the things I remember about Barcelona. But there was also a story one night. We were out very late. I was there with my family and a couple of friends of ours from New Orleans. And we were out really late because everybody eats so late in Spain anyway. And we were at this restaurant and we were upstairs, and we came out, it was like 2 a.m. We'd all been drinking and blah, blah. And Annie Smith, who's a friend of mine who was with us, I remember she was totally out of her mind, drunk. And we walked down the stairs, and over in the corner was a table of NBC, and I think NBC was doing the games then. In total, a bunch of NBC suits and some of the announcers were there who I knew all of them, and one of them was O.J. Simpson, and I knew O.J. From doing stories on him. And Annie she got to the bottom of the stairs. She saw OJ and she ran over, and OJ had been drinking too. Everybody was kind of in their cups. And she ran over and jumped into OJ's lap. And I ran after Annie, what are you doing? And OJ loved it. OJ, I mean, he was loving it. And it was a great time. The whole Barcelona Olympics were such a party. And that's just one of the incidents there that I recall.
And
That's
let me
cool.
hit you with a quick trivia then, Curry, because I want to go win a bar bet just like you would, but with the Capriati question. Who's the best tennis player in this generation then that didn't win a gold medal at the Olympics? That we could go into a bar and say, hey, which one of these two won a gold medal? And Capriati would be the right answer.
Yeah, that's a great question for men and women. All the great players. I mean, Federer, Sampras, McEnroe, those guys never won a gold medal. And on the women's side, Martina, you think about it, Martina,
Martina never
Chris,
won one. Wow.
no, Martina, Chris, none of them won the
Chris
gold
ever
medal.
did Chris
Steffi,
ever play in the finals? Did Chris
That's
ever
the thing.
play?
Tennis is new enough. What, 88 was the
yeah,
first one, wasn't it?
yeah, and I don't, and even today, a lot of the players don't want to play in the Olympics for some reason. I don't know what's a lot of athletes don't want to play. It was a
Right.
long time ago. I mean, it wasn't long ago when a lot of our best NBA basketball players didn't want to go.
Right.
It's
Right.
only in the last
Yeah,
few Olympics.
but when you see the reaction, like from Scotty after winning the gold medal and Djokovic, I think it's their reaction tells you all about how important the Olympics is to them
E-
and how
Exactly.
meaningful it is. Right?
Yeah.
So it's the best, I think.
Indeed. Yeah.
The
Well, and
the
we're going to get,
the
now we
Scheffler
see it. The golfers.
The
Yeah.
Scheffler thing really stunned me because I know Djokovic is a really emotional guy anyway. After he wins Grand Slams, he cries and all this stuff, goes up in the stands with his family. But the Scheffler thing, and it was a long time. He'd won and he was up. He was out on the practice range preparing for a playoff. If
Right.
Who was it? The British guy.
Fleetwood, Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fleetwood was going to tie if he did. And when he won it, of course, it was just he and his caddy, and he celebrated. He didn't really realize, but when they played the national anthem, he was standing there, and at the end, it was just to the end, and then he just totally lost it.
Right.
It was great. It was a great scene.
It was a great scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rich and I don't have many Olympic stories, but I got one that goes with the anthem. I was fortunate enough when I was doing TV in Oklahoma, we went with a group of high school seniors from Oklahoma who went and took football to then the Soviet Union. It was 1989. We took it to the Soviet Union. They'd never had football played there before, except maybe one NFL game. They didn't get it on TV. They only got it through magazines, through stories like in Sports Illustrated. So we take it over there and had this wonderful time. Played before the Russian athletic people got involved in it, and so they helped draw the crowds. And on the 4th of July of 1989, we are playing each other, not playing Russians, but just two American football teams are playing in Leningrad, then Leningrad, now St. Petersburg's soccer stadium. 40,000 Soviets standing for our national anthem on the 4th of July.
That's pretty cool. That's
pretty
really
good stuff. I still get goosebumps remembering that. It was it was a terrific moment for sure.
neat.
Final thoughts?
Well, let me tell you about my
yeah.
In '88 at the Olympics, we're in Los Angeles, and of course I was doing the basketball then, and then it was the college kids playing, and it was Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan had just played his junior year at Carolina. He was leaving, and everybody knew it, and it was the first really. And my memory goes back even to the trials, covering the trials, which were in Bloomington, Indiana, and the Olympic coach was Bobby Knight, who of course I had some real run-ins with over the course of time. And at the trials in Bloomington, there was incredible security, and I was covering for the magazine, and I lost my credential. Of course, all the Olympic officials knew who I was, knew me, because I'd been to all these, all this stuff. And I lost my credential, and I got past the officials that I knew, but now a couple of local Bloomington cops stopped me and said, "You can't. We're not letting you in without a credential." I said, "Wait a minute. I've been coming every day. You know who I am." Yeah. He said, "No, you got to wait here." So they put me in an office. It was in the Bloomington, the arena where they were playing. And I waited for an hour and a half. They kept me in there. These are local Bloomington cops. They kept me in there. Finally, they came in and said, "Coach Knight wants to see you." So they perp walked me out into the gym, and all these coaches and all these players, college coaches and players that I know and I've covered forever, they're all in there playing, all over the gym. And Knight is in this big tower, like Bear Bryant used to have. He's in this big tower, so he can watch all the games and all the players. Yeah. And these cops perp walk, and then I'm realizing what's happening. Of course, I'm so embarrassed. These cops are perp walking me in. Everything, all the whistles stopped. Knight stopped everything. and I'm walking in front of all these, in the middle of the gym. It's a long walk, and I'm standing beneath Knights up in the tower, and he says, Kirkpatrick, I understand you've lost something. You're missing something. And I'm looking up, and I said, yeah, coach, yeah, Bobby. He says, is this what you're looking for? And he flips my credential down, and it took about a half hour for credential to come sailing down onto my head from Knight, and it's my credential. And so he said, yeah, sorry about that. And then they let me, watch practice. But so, embarrassing. So then,
Sorry.
so then came, the pre-Olympic games. We, meaning the American team, played a bunch of NBA All-Star guys in different cities, and it was great. And remember, this was Michael Jordan's first really coming out to America. And we showed the cover there of him playing against these pro teams. And one night in
Because
Indianapolis,
he'd been buried at North Carolina by the one coach who could hold him under 20 a game.
Okay, wait a minute. So he's playing, and the crowds are unbelievable. And I think it was the night that we played in Indianapolis, and it was the night they opened the Hoosier Dome. And before the game, the NBA guys are at one end and our Olympic team's the other. A ball goes scurrying down the other end and goes to the pro end. And Michael Jordan comes trotting down to chase the ball. And the ball gets into Larry Bird's hands. And Larry Bird, you'd think, he's going to toss it to Michael Jordan, right? He looks Michael Jordan in the eye, and he kicks the ball over Michael Jordan's head to the other end of the basketball court. And Jordan just looks at him and shakes his head in disgust. It was amazing. These guys saw Jordan coming. They knew what was going to happen. He paid him no respect at all. He kicked the ball over his head. 2 nights later, they're in Milwaukee, and they're battering. Every game they're smashing Jordan to the floor every chance they got. And one time the NBA had NBA coaches as players and coaches. And they smashed on the floor one time late in the game, and a NBA guy goes over to pick Jordan up, and the NBA coach on the sideline yells at him, said, "Leave him alone. He's been in our faces all night. Get away from him." And the poor NBA guy didn't even know. And the guy that yelled at him was Oscar Robertson. Yelled at him to get away from Jordan. Don't give him the ball. It was like they saw this guy coming. Here he comes, and we're not going to give him anything. It was great. And then
neat to see the respect that they played for him. Final thoughts, Rich.
Okay, I'm gonna throw the French under the bus for the Olympics, because in how we had an Italian swimmer wins the medal, and then he sleeps outside on the ground because the housing, the mattresses are so poor, they made it out of cardboard. So bad. Can you imagine you win a medal in Olympics, now you figure the best way I'm going to get some sleep is sleep outside on the ground. And then 2, yesterday I read where the food was so bad they found worms in some of the fish. How about that? You're supposed to be taking care of the best, and we can't do any better than cardboard mattresses and worms in the food. So I'm throwing the French under the bus.
Well, we can't go much further under the bus than the French, the water patrol and of the Seine.
That's right.
We read all pre weeks of the Olympics. The mayor swam in the Seine, and she was fine with it, and the E. coli level was low enough, and everybody could be happy with the Seine. And then, of course, the rains that came on the opening day ceremonies just flooded the Seine again, and apparently, turned it into like a poop lagoon. And and everybody said, okay, we're not, and they suspended. They desperately wanted to start the triathlon, the men's and women's in the Seine, the swimming part. They wanted to start it there, and they insisted upon doing that. So they had to postpone the triathlon a couple days till the point where they had the men and women do it the same day because they were afraid. So they went in the water. And, sure enough, I think it was a Portuguese woman came out, and she said, I saw and smelled stuff that you never want to think about. And she came out and she blasted, right after the swim, she blasted the authorities for the swimming.
And have you
And sure enough,
yeah, go
well,
ahead.
sure enough, the day before, they finally got in the water and did the triathlon. Switzerland said a couple of their team members were sick. They had to replace them. And who was it that pulled out? Was it Belgium? I think Belgium pulled out of the triathlon in the
I
water.
think Switzerland also thought about declaring war on France. I mean, you can mess with a lot of things, but don't mess with the water in the Seine, right?
No, but that water looked terrible. Yeah. And
have we seen the mayor of Paris since?
No,
she said she came out. but
we saw her that day, but have we seen her since?
A few of the swimmers from other countries have turned up sick. So after swimming in that thing,
I'm just.
Did they spend $1 billion? Didn't they spend $1 billion preparing?
1.5, billion.
Yeah,
almost enough to pay Justin Jarrett, our producer.
You see, Katie Ledecky went nowhere near the Seine, swimming in the Seine.
Hey, she did swim though. Did she not swim in a building that you are familiar with, Curry?
Oh,
we're going way over, but I got to get into this.
Yeah, that is. Well, the swimming event was, I figured it out halfway through, was in an arena. They had an arena and they built the swimming in it. It was an arena that opened in 2017. And the two opening nights were the Rolling Stones. And guess who was there? Me.
Curry Kirkpatrick.
As they say, moi. So the swimming was in the same arena. And Taylor Swift did a concert in that swimming arena about 2 weeks before the Olympics also.
Wow.
Curry, is that arena better suited for swimming or concerts?
I was trying to figure out where. I was right up front of the Stones concert that year, 2017. And I was trying to figure out where I would have been in the swimming event, if I would have been by the diving side or something. But we haven't even mentioned one last thing.
Oh, yeah.
The star of the games, the leading man of these games, was the swimmer Leon Marchand for France. He won 4 events. He set all kinds of records, and he set the country just aflame. And every event he swam, they showed pictures of around the country, in little houses watching him, and in cafes and hospitals and grocery stores. Everybody was watching this guy when he swam. He was the true face of the Olympics.
Yeah,
Leon Marchand. What a great name.
He is the last guy to go under the bus. For Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico, I'm Bob Stevens. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
Under the Bus is a production of the Lowco Media Network and is filmed on the Hilton Head Island campus of the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. The executive producer is Justin Jarrett, with assistance from Trey Ramsey, Mahogany Hickman, and Adam Carroll.